right, everybody. Welcome to the continuation of our month-end checklist series. Hopefully you enjoyed it so far. If you want to go back and view some previous ones, they're all on our YouTube channel, so you can find that both on our blog and here. We're continuing on today, and then we have one more next month to kind of complete what we're doing as this checklist series. We'll definitely continue on these educational series. I think we're going to go into some newer features that we're putting out here over the next couple of months in the first half of next year. So looking forward to going over that with all of you. But today, as we continue on with our checklist series, we are moving into payment processor fees and reconciliation. So as a recap, we started off talking about sales. How do people generally get their sales in? What do we see across all of our customer base on ways to do that? And then what are some common ways to reclassify, cancel, do replacement orders or complementary orders, different things like that. And then last month, we started to go over revenue recognition. So reviewing fulfillment and how that impacts our revenue recognition, reviewing our deferred revenue and the adjustments that might go into that. And then also talking about our cost of goods sold adjustment and how we impact our inventory to make sure we have parity between revenue recognition and inventory adjustments. So this month, like we just talked about, we're going to go over how to book our payment processor fees, different ways that we see people going about all of that, reconciliation of orders and payment processor fees to the payouts at the bank, and then also reviewing cash in transit, both from the prior month paying out into this month and the items in this month that are still in transit and yet to pay out into hopefully a future month. And then looking ahead to December, we'll talk about more of kind of a balance sheet approach to different things. So credit card balances, the redemptions and expirations that go along with that, as well as some sales tax remittance and all of the fun that goes along with sales tax. So how do you reconcile? So we see people doing this in three ways typically. Manual reconciliation is probably the most common that we see when we're starting our conversation with a lot of our customers. So that's usually done in Excel. I think every accountant has done this. They're very familiar with what this looks like. You have a roll of your bank account balance at the beginning of the month, all of your transactions, end of month balance, and just making sure that you've accounted for everything and comparing between your GL and the transaction volume in your bank. Obviously, this is a very manual intensive process. It takes a lot of our customers hours, some of our customers days up to a week to perform all of their reconciliation. And obviously that's very dependent on order volume. The more volume you get, the more burdensome that effort gets. And it's also error prone. So what we see a lot of people doing is they spend all of their time getting that reconciliation done and then not enough time left to actually do the investigation. So they'll get to a number that they're comfortable with, whatever that may be, and say, okay, we'll just move forward and we'll write that balance off or feel comfortable with that variance. The middle piece is an automated reconciliation. So there's some people who have in-house developed solutions that might have greater access to tech resources. They've built out like a SQL database or something where they've been able to do this. That's a lot of investment internally to do all of that. And I've done a lot of that in my previous positions, and I know that it never really works out the way that you hoped it would. And then there's purchase softwares. Obviously, we do a lot of this work. We'd love to talk about some of that here in a bit of what Blue Onion can do to help. That's kind of what we do spend a lot of our time doing for our customers. This obviously reduces the hours of work for accountants, increases the accuracy for accountants, hopefully, if it's a good solution. And so that's what we see there. And then the last is cash basis accountants. So people are booking their payouts, recording their sales at the time of payout. So we've kind of gone through that in the previous two examples, in the previous 2 months, where we're booking sales based off of payouts. In that case, obviously, if you're not recording a sale and have an expectation of a payout, there's not much reconciliation to be done. So there's really not a ton of reconciling that's happening because you're following cash when you're doing that. The potential problem with that is you might be missing revenue on which you haven't been paid. So you're missing that cash in transit and that revenue recorded in the appropriate period if you're concerned with that. And there's some potential that you might have orders that you're not getting paid out on. So there's kind of a control missing there where you're not actually aware of all of the things that are in your ecosystem and whether you're getting paid on them. So how can Blue Onion help? So similar to our previous months, we're going to just jump into our app here and look at what we can do in our app to help facilitate some of this process, both around the fees, but also around reconciliation. So here we are in the Blue Onion app. The first place I'm going to go to here is our journal entries page. So in here at the time of payout, we do record all of the payment processor fees. So I know that this can be a burdensome part of reconciliation and really just maintaining your books for a lot of accountants is finding the fees that you're getting paid and recording them appropriately. So at payout, we include all of these fees. We also have an optional version of this where we'll push these fees back up to the order date, and you can see those for accrual. So if you want to be accruing for your fees and then seeing them on the payout, you can also do that. But we'll focus here just on the payout, just so that kind of the cash trail is a little bit cleaner and we're not dealing with that accrual account in the middle. So yeah, just as a really quick walkthrough of this, we're seeing our cash payout into the individual payment processors into our bank. And so let's just follow Amazon Seller. There's a little additional quirk around Amazon Seller than there is on other payment processors. So I just want to highlight kind of the more complicated example here. So Amazon Seller here will pull out for you all of the fees that are included. So merchant fees, we're saying, all right, Amazon Seller paid you out $2,300. Included in there was about $2,000 of merchant fees. So if we click through here, and this is one of the great things about the Blue Onion app, is everything is trying to provide you greater transparency on every single number that you record. And so you can see here we have a gross amount, so the amount that your order was originally placed for, and then fees, and then net amount. And so you can see here Amazon reporting a $570 fee for this. It's tied back to its originating order, so there's always a clear audit trail on where that's coming from. And we can see all of these fees being recorded over that period. So always clarity on what's going on here. Amazon Seller, like I said, has some additional fees that they're charging just so that this is kind of open out here. You can see Shopify and PayPal are really charging these merchant fees. But Amazon Seller has a reversal reimbursement that they're crediting to you, shipping that they're charging, and then backing out any shipping that they may have collected at the time of sale, advertising fees they're charging, sales tax that was collected at the time of sale, but then also remitted to the jurisdiction, and then reserve balance. A lot of times Amazon Seller and even sometimes Stripe and other processors will require people to hold a certain balance there. So they'll skim off of the top of some of those payouts to make sure that the appropriate balance is remaining. And then a fulfillment fee that they might charge for doing the fulfillment on your behalf. Here you can see Shopify is also highlighting a chargeback. This is actually a dispute that's being returned, but we'll highlight all of those chargebacks, the reversals of chargebacks, the fees associated with those chargebacks, and all of those will be in this section here. So really giving you a one-stop shop of where can you get all of those payment processor fees and record them. Like I said, we do show you accruals. We have a lot of our customers that actually aren't so concerned about the accruals. If your sales volume is relatively static over time, you're having a month delay on those fees is not going to be a material impact period over period. It's obviously not accounting advice, just kind of telling you what we observe from our customers and how they do this. And so once we kind of go from, all right, we got paid $2,300, we had a lot of fees in the middle here. So here, this accounts receivable, you can think of that as like your credit out of your clearing or holding account. And that's just really saying, all right, when these were put into my holding account, they were worth $14,500 from Amazon Seller. But because of all of these adjustments that happened in between, I actually only received $2272.64. And again, all of that's clicked through down to the payments, but we also have that information on the payout summary. So the payout summary is a snip of your bank. And so this is kind of going to that payout reconciliation. So again, taking that step, we've already recorded sales, we've done revenue, And now we're seeing these fees and these payouts happening. So how are we going to combine all of this? So our payout summary shows you a payout report of every single payout that you've received in your bank. You can see whether we've reconciled it. If there's any sort of partial reconciliation, we'll show you the balance that's unreconciled here, and each payment source, the day that it's happening, and the bank account that it's happening in. So we support multiple bank accounts, multiple payment processors, multiple of the same payment processor, multiple Shopify stores, however you want to kind of set all of that up. And you can click through any of these and it'll give you the full detail, again, reconciled back to the order of each of these transactions that are included in there, the fees that are being charged to process that. If there are any account level fees, anything like that, they'll all be included in that payout. And so it's a pretty nice all-inclusive payout summary here where you would have this. So we just have here this one page here. We have a lot of our customers who are working on pretty high volume and have 7, 10, 15 pages of different payouts in a given month. And so when you get to that volume, you can really see the value of something like this. So the last piece that I really want to highlight here is kind of bringing all of those pieces together to really do that true reconciliation on an order level. But on top of that, also giving you a view of your cash in transit. And so the way that I like to talk about our cash in transit page is it is the culmination of all of those things. So it's connected back to the order. So we know the expectation of what we're going to get paid. But because we have the payment processor records, which is where we really feel like we're a differentiator here in this market, because we have those payment processor records, we can tell you when did you get paid and what did you get paid and what was included in that payment. So we'll kind of walk through each of those steps as we go through here. So the cards at the top are sort of setting the stage for the bottom pieces here. And so the leftmost card here, we're still looking at the same month that we were previously. So the leftmost card here is looking at our sales and refunds for the period. So gross sales, shipping revenue, all of the revenue that we're recording and its adjustments. Same thing on refunds, all refunds processed in the period. And then getting to a net amount of order, net order volume. Then in the middle, we're looking at our non-cash payment. So any gift cards, exchange credits, store credits, anything where we're not expecting to get actual cash paid out, to get to the net of those two, which would be what is the amount of money that I expect to get paid from all of the order transactions that have happened in this period. So that gets us, again, we're going to break that out into payment processor, similar to what we did at the time of sale in our first part of this series. And so at the bottom, what we're going to do is start to give you that walk from expected to actual. So let's just focus on Shopify for this example. In the accounts receivable, this is all fed from the order volume, the order data. And so we have Shopify saying, all right, we're expecting to pay $35,500 because of the orders and net refunds that happened in this period. And then as we keep walking across, we're kind of walking through time. So the cash received in period is all the cash you received from these orders in the same period. So January orders that were paid out in January. One clarification to make here is we'll get to the net payment, but this is all looking at gross right here because we are working off of the order data to start. So this is the gross value of payment that was paid out in January. We're obviously well past January, so there's nothing in transit any longer. But if you were on February 1st, you would see some amount in here telling you that, hey, you have some that's truly in transit right now. But since we're past January, we can now tell you that this has been received into your bank in a period after January. And true to everything else in our app, all of this is click through back to the order data. So this is every order that was in transit as of the end of January. So you can see here, this is authorized January 30th, 2022, and paid out into the bank February 1st. And as we go down here, you can see all of these are kind of following that fact pattern. So really helpful in trying to determine what orders you have and have not been paid on and what else is going on with your cash flow. We also show you here your chargebacks, so $14 of chargebacks that occurred to get you to the same amount of cash received as you expected to get paid. So we've fully basically been able to reconcile out all of your January activity. We also do the exact same thing. So remember at the top of this, we were talking about we're going to look at our cash in transit that we're expecting to pay out in the next period, but we can also help you track the cash that's settled into this period that's from a prior period. So that's what this cash received and settled in bank is for Shopify. We received $31,774.43. That all ties back to our payout summary. So if we were to go back over to our payout summary, look at our bank, we can filter this by payment sources and say, I only want to look at my, I selected the wrong thing. I only want to look at my Shopify payments, $31,774.43. So that ties back to your bank. And then we're able to basically give you the correct attribution of all of those amounts. And this kind of gets back to some of the things that we looked at with our cash basis accounting, because right now we're following cash, right? So in period, we received a little under $30,000, and this is now net because it's what's settled into our account. Again, that's all click through, takes you straight to the payments that are included here. Out of period total would be things that were related to some sort of order that was placed before January, but is settling out into this January period. So if we click through that one, what we'll find out is that we have a bunch of orders that were authorized here at the end of December. They were made available by Shopify on the day after New Year's and then settled into our bank a day later. So there's actually kind of like a 4-day gap here over that holiday weekend. And so that helps you track kind of where you're getting paid and why you're getting paid, and even break that out further for you. And we did go over this in the sales version of this, but just wanted to kind of re-highlight it from a different perspective. Is in this in period total, we can also tell you that here's that 29,872. What portion of that is sales, what's refunds, what's other, which is generally going to be your chargebacks, and then what are the fees that are processed on all of that. So a fully auditable trail of all of those different payouts, and the same thing for the amount that was settled out into the account from the prior period. So here's that $1,900 settled out from the prior period. And we have our sales, refunds, other, and fees, which we're really only hitting sales and fees here. So that's really how we help a lot of people do their cash in transit. We're really excited. We've just launched a NetSuite integration that takes a lot of this information and pushes it into NetSuite directly. We require people that are looking to take that on already have some sort of integration that's bringing their order flow into NetSuite. And we'll basically take that information, reconcile against it, and tell you which of your NetSuite cash sales or customer deposits have actually definitively deposited or settled. So if you have any questions about any of that, we can definitely support you in that. I'm just going to jump back over to the slides really quickly and finish up here. If there's any questions or anything that people want to talk about further or want to clarify on, feel free to drop that in the Q&A. Like we've talked about this whole time, we are built for finance and accounting teams. We are looking to solve problems for people like yourselves. And so we work with a ton of great customers. I see some of you listed here that are on the call, so thank you. We love seeing you here. And we integrate with tons of different payment processors. So what we hear a ton of our customers or potential customers saying is, I have to go to 7 different portals to log in and find all of these things, and I'm tired of doing that, and it's wasting my people's time. We can do all of that work for you. We can normalize that data, and we can get it into a seamless place for you to find it. And like I said, if you're interested in NetSuite, if you're interested in any further information about anything we've talked about here or any of the prior ones or anything unrelated, feel free to reach out to us. Sales@blueonion.com if you want to kind of have a conversation around joining our team or joining the NetSuite integration, or if you have any accounting questions, feel free to email me. There's my email, brian@blueonionlabs.com, and I'm always happy to talk accounting nerd talk with anybody. So really appreciate everybody joining today. I don't see any questions in the Q&A, so if there's nothing out there, I think we'll close it up today, and just really appreciate everybody's time today.